Good evening, I am Tomas Guevara Calderon, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. Subscribe to this channel to be at the forefront of the investigation to understand the nature of the universal consciousness, or what many people call God. In today's episode 138, I am going to analyze and debunk the Copenhagen's interpretation. The Copenhagen interpretation is a collection of views about the meaning of quantum mechanics. It stems from the work of physicists like Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg, and Max Born. Here are some key points. Indeterminism. The Copenhagen interpretation posits that quantum mechanics is intrinsically indeterministic. Probabilities are calculated using the Born rule. Complementarity. Objects have complementary properties that cannot all be observed or measured simultaneously. For instance, we can't precisely know both the position and momentum of a particle at the same time. Observation and measurement. The act of observing or measuring an object is irreversible. No truth can be attributed to an object except based on measurement results. This interpretation rejects counterfactual definiteness. Objective descriptions. Quantum descriptions are considered objective, independent of physicists' personal beliefs. Despite objections over the years, the Copenhagen interpretation remains one of the most commonly taught views in quantum mechanics. Wave-particle duality is a fundamental concept in quantum mechanics that aligns with the Copenhagen interpretation. Here's how it fits in. Dual nature. According to wave-particle duality, particles, such as electrons or photons, exhibit both wave-like and particle-like behavior. They can behave as discrete particles, localized packets, or as continuous waves, spread out. My first comment is that they have this dual nature because both are made of links of consciousness, something that I explained in episode 117. Wave functions. Quantum objects are described by mathematical functions called wave functions. These wave functions encode the probability of distribution of a particle's position or momentum. When we square the magnitude of the wave function, we get the probability density. Second comment, in episode 106 I explained the formula to create our reality, and I gave a metaphorical explanation about this wave function. Interference. Like waves, particles can interfere constructively or destructively. For example, in the double-slit experiment, electrons or photons create an interference pattern when passing through two slits. This pattern arises due to the superposition of their wave functions. Particle properties. At the same time, particles exhibit particle-like properties. When we measure a particle's position, it collapses to a specific location, a particle-like behavior. However, prior to measurement, it exists as a superposition of possible states. Uncertainty principle. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle is closely related. It states that we cannot simultaneously know both the precise position and momentum of a particle. The more localized a particle's position, the less certain we are about its momentum, and vice versa. In summary, wave-particle duality emphasizes that quantum entities possess both wave and particle characteristics, and their behavior is probabilistic until observed. Third comment, by observed they mean when we created it using our perceptions mechanism, which I explained in episodes 5 and 6. The Copenhagen interpretation acknowledges this inherent uncertainty and focuses on measurement outcomes as the basis for understanding quantum phenomena. Recently I watched a video that said, imagine you have a magical box that can create anything you want. You can ask for an apple and there's an apple. Ask for a pencil and there's a pencil. Even ask for a unicorn and there's a unicorn. Here's the strange part, the box doesn't decide what to create until you open it and look inside. Before you look, it could be creating anything. It's only when you open the box that it chooses and becomes just one thing, the apple, pencil, or unicorn. All these possibilities exist simultaneously. Fourth comment, This box is your perception's mechanism at work. It's always you who decide what to create, but the problem is that you use your beliefs to create everything, and this influences your perception. Inside the box, this is similar to how particles in quantum mechanics work before they're observed. They exist in a state where they could be many things at once. When observed, they collapse into one state. One interpretation of this is the Copenhagen interpretation. It suggests that observing a particle is what causes it to take on a definite state. This process is known as wave function collapse. The act of measurement interacts with the particle in such a way that it can no longer remain in superposition. Instead, it takes on a single definite state. In our story, opening the box and looking inside is like observing the particle, making it become just one thing. Fifth comment. This is a powerful belief because our science community doesn't know what consciousness is, nor they know what our perception's mechanism is or how it works. A century ago, physicists were sure it was the atom. Experiments like those conducted by Max Planck, Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr and others revealed that atoms themselves were made of even smaller particles and that these particles exhibited strange behaviors not explained by classical physics. Modern physics tells us that the building blocks of the universe are subatomic particles such as electrons, quarks and neutrinos. These particles are believed to be the fundamental constituents of matter, and all the matter we see around us is made up of various combinations of these particles. However, the story doesn't end there. Quantum theory reveals that the fundamental building blocks of the cosmos go beyond just particles, extending to the very fabric of space and time itself. In this framework, comment number 6, this framework is the regional area number 1 of the universal consciousness, which I explained recently on episode number 120. And now, somehow, they agreed with me when they explained that the universe is not merely composed of particles moving through space but rather a dynamic interplay of fields and forces within the structure of spacetime. They continue, these fields described by quantum field theory are the true essence of what constitutes reality, with particles emerging as excitations of these underlying fields. Today we believe the deepest layer of reality consists of elementary particles governed by quantum theory. This invisible tiny realm is where everything we see and experience originates. It's a world full of wonder and can often feel strange. Let's start with what we know. Visible matter is made of atoms which have protons and neutrons at their centers. However, these protons and neutrons are not the smallest particles according to the standard model of particle physics, which explains reality at the smallest scales. There are even smaller particles. Surprisingly, everything in the universe can be traced back to atoms. An atom is the smallest unit of matter that retains the characteristics and properties of the larger visible world, including physical and chemical properties. An atom is fundamentally a quantum entity with its own energy levels, properties and conservation laws. It interacts with all four known fundamental forces in many ways. All of physics can be seen inside a single atom. Here's what atoms can tell us about the universe. Here on Earth, about 90 elements occur naturally and are formed by cosmic processes. Each element has an atom with a nucleus made of protons and possibly neutrons and surrounded by electrons equal to the number of protons. Each element has unique properties such as hardness, color, melting and boiling points, density, conductivity, electric negativity, ionization energy, and many others. What's remarkable about atoms is that there's only one property that defines what type of atom you have and hence what these properties are. Final comment, this was essentially what they told us in this video, which confirms what I have been telling you. They don't know what consciousness is, nor they know how our perception's mechanism is and how it works. This will debunk the Copenhagen interpretation. But don't worry, in the next 2 decades they will understand it and discover that mathematics is not the language of the universe. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and remember that you have buy my books at Amazon.com under my name Tomas Guevara Calderon.